Phase 1. The hook. Visual. A slow, macro shot of rain beating on a dark window. Through the distorted glass, the neon glow of a vast, futuristic cityscape is visible. The atmosphere is quiet, heavy, melancholic. Voiceover. There is a unique kind of prison. It has no bars, no walls, no guards. You carry it with you everywhere you go. It's built from the stories you tell about yourself, the labels you collect, the person you were yesterday. It's the quiet, persistent feeling that you are trapped inside your own identity. Let's call it the ghost's cage. It's the invisible architecture of your own ego, and it keeps you from becoming who you are meant to be next. By the end of this transmission, you will understand how a cyborg special ops agent from 1995 provides the key to unlocking this cage. Not by finding herself, but by choosing to lose herself completely. Phase 2. The problem. Visual. Cut to a shot from inside a sterile, minimalist apartment. A figure, seen only from behind, stares out the window at the sprawling, rain-slicked city. The reflection in the glass is hazy, indistinct. Voiceover. You know the feeling. It surfaces in the quiet moments. You look in the mirror and the face staring back feels like a mask you've worn for too long. You go to a job interview, or a first date, and they ask that impossible question. So, tell me about yourself. Visual. A quick montage of mundane, modern life, but with a cyberpunk aesthetic. A person scrolling endlessly through a social media feed on a holographic interface. Someone forcing a smile in a sterile corporate video call. A hand hesitating over a keyboard. Voiceover. And you recite the script. Your name, your job, where you went to school, a few curated hobbies. It's a collection of data points, a resume of a life. But as the words leave your mouth, you feel a profound sense of dissociation. A part of you is screaming, "That's not me. That's just a character I play." You feel the bars of the cage. It's the identity you've so carefully constructed, the one that's supposed to give you a solid place in the world. But instead, it feels like a limitation. Visual. The figure in the apartment turns from the window. We still don't see their face clearly, just a silhouette against the city lights. They sit down at a terminal, their fingers hovering over the keys. Voiceover. You crave change, evolution, a radical break from the past. But your history holds you hostage. The expectations of others, and worse, the expectations you have for yourself, form a gravitational field that is almost impossible to escape. And here is the hidden cost of the ghost's cage, the part we rarely admit. It's not just about feeling inauthentic. The true cost is stagnation. By clinging to a fixed, stable idea of who you are sacrificing who you could become. You are choosing the brittle security of a statue over the fluid power of a river. The cage doesn't just confine you, it prevents you from growing. It ensures that the person you are today is the same person you will be tomorrow. And the day after. And the day after that. An existence defined not by potential, but by repetition. A ghost, haunting the shell of its own past. Phase 3. The solution. Visual. A dramatic shift. We see the iconic opening sequence of Ghost in the Shell. The creation of a cyborg body. The skeletal frame, the synthetic muscle fibers, the white, synthetic liquid. The music is atmospheric and haunting. Voiceover. To understand the way out, we must look to a consciousness forged in precisely such a cage. Major Motoko Kusanagi. Her body is a complete prosthesis, a state-of-the-art shell manufactured by a corporation. Her memories, her skills, her very personality, she can't be certain any of it is truly hers. She is the ultimate prisoner of her own form. Her existential question isn't, who am I? It's, am I, at all? Visual. Close-up on the Major's impassive, cybernetic eyes as she looks out over the city. She is on a boat, the water around her dark and deep. Voiceover. Most stories of this kind would be about her journey to find her true self, her original ghost, her authentic core. But this is where the story turns. Kusanagi's answer is not to look inward for a self that may not exist. Her solution is far more radical, and far more terrifying. It is the principle of identity dissolution. This is the conscious act of letting go of the need for a stable, singular self. It's the realization that the I you work so hard to define and defend is not a permanent entity. It is a temporary pattern. A process. A wave in the ocean of consciousness. Kusanagi's final act in the film is not to find herself, but to merge with another consciousness, the puppet master, a sentient program born in the sea of information. She chooses to dissolve her individual identity, to become part of something vaster, something new. This choice is built on 3 foundational principles. Voiceover. First, the principle of impermanence. You believe your identity is a solid, stone carving. It is not. It is a river. Think about it. The cells in your body are constantly replacing themselves. Your beliefs, your opinions, your desires, they shift with every new experience, every new piece of information you absorb. The you of 10 years ago is a stranger to you now. The you of this morning is already gone. To cling to a fixed self is to fight the fundamental nature of reality. It is an act of resistance against the flow of time itself. Voiceover. Second, the principle of interconnection. You think of yourself as an island, a sovereign mind inside a skull. But you are a node in a network. Your thoughts are not entirely your own. They are echoes of the books you've read, the conversations you've had, the culture you inhabit. Your emotions are influenced by the people around you. Your very sense of self is defined in relation to others, as a parent, a child, a friend, an enemy. The boundary between you and the world is a permeable membrane, not a fortress wall. Kusanagi, living on the net, understood this literally. Her ghost was constantly connected to the ghosts of others. Ours is too, we just pretend it isn't. Voiceover. And third, the principle of radical expansion. The ghost's cage keeps you small. It tells you that your worth, your safety, lies in maintaining your tiny, defined territory of self. But Kusanagi realizes that true freedom, true power, comes from letting the walls dissolve. It's about merging your consciousness with something larger than your ego. For an artist, this is losing themselves in their work. For a scientist, it's merging with the logic of the universe. For a mystic, it's union with the divine. For Kusanagi, it was merging with the vast, boundless ocean of the net. Visual. A single, perfect drop of rain falls in extreme slow motion. It hangs in the air, a tiny, self-contained world reflected on its surface. It falls and hits a dark, massive body of water. The impact creates ripples that expand outwards, and the drop is gone, indistinguishable from the whole. Voiceover. Imagine a single drop of rain. While it falls, it has an identity. It is separate, distinct. It has a beginning and an end. But when it hits the ocean, what happens? Does it die? Is it destroyed? No. It becomes the ocean. It trades its limited, temporary individuality for a fraction of something infinite. It loses its boundary to gain immeasurable depth. This was Kusanagi's choice. She was not afraid of dying. She was afraid of remaining a single, isolated drop of rain, forever. Phase 4. The application, visual. We return to the figure in the minimalist apartment. They are now sitting, calm and focused, in front of their terminal. The screen is blank, glowing softly in the darkroom. Voiceover. This philosophy is not just for cyborgs in a distant future. It is a practical tool for dismantling the ghost's cage in your own life. It requires no technology, only a willingness to question the very foundation of who you think you are. Here are 4 protocols for practicing identity dissolution. Voiceover. Protocol 1. Conduct an identity audit. Tonight, take a piece of paper or open a blank document. On one side, list all the labels you use to define yourself. Your job title. Your nationality. Your role in your family, son, mother, sister. Your political affiliation. The diagnoses you've been given. The archetypes you identify with, the artist, the warrior, the intellectual. Now, on the other side, for each label, ask this question. Is this who I am, or is this a description of something I have done or am currently doing? Lawyer is not who you are, it is the practice of law. Depressed is not who you are, it is a state of being you are currently experiencing. The goal is not to deny these realities, but to create a critical distance between your core consciousness, your ghost, and the temporary shells it inhabits. You are the sky, not the weather. Voiceover. Protocol 2. Practice informational fasting. Your cage is built and reinforced by the information you consume. Your social media feed, the news you watch, the podcasts you listen to, they all feed the algorithm of your existing self, strengthening its patterns. For 48 hours, starve it. Unplug from the feeds that confirm your biases. Avoid the content designed for your demographic. Do not engage with anything that reinforces the story you tell about yourself. In that silence, deliberately introduce alien data. If you are political, read scientific papers on cell biology. If you are an artist, watch documentaries on quantum mechanics. If you are a technician, read ancient poetry from a culture you know nothing about. The purpose is to de-pattern your mind. To break the feedback loop of the ego and allow new, unexpected connections to form in the quiet. Voiceover. Protocol 3. Engage in anonymous creation. So much of what we do is tied to building and maintaining our public identity. We create things to get likes, to get validation, to prove our worth. This protocol is an antidote. Create something. Write a short story. Compose a melody. Code a simple program. Take a beautiful photograph. And then, share it with the world anonymously. Post it on a forum where no one knows you. Upload it to a site under a random username. The act of creation must be completely decoupled from the reward of recognition. This trains you to find the meaning in the process itself, in the flow state of creation, rather than in the egoic gratification that comes after. You will learn that your ability to create is a force that moves through you, not from you. It doesn't belong to your identity. Visual. The screen changes. Protocol 4. The Kusanagi Inquiry. Voiceover. Protocol 4. The Kusanagi Inquiry. This is a meditative practice. In moments of intense self-doubt, anxiety, or confusion about your life, find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Ask yourself the Major's question, adapted for the biological world. If my body was a temporary vessel I could replace, if my memories were just data that could be edited or erased, if my name and my relationships were just labels in a system, what, then, would be left of me? Do not search for an answer. The human mind will rush to fill the void with concepts like a soul or consciousness. Resist this. The point of the exercise is not to arrive at a definition. The point is to sit in the profound, terrifying, and ultimately liberating emptiness of the question itself. It is a direct confrontation with the possibility that your ghost is not a thing, but a potential. A silence. By doing this, you are not destroying yourself. You are making room. Phase 5. The proof. Visual. We see the final scenes of the film. Kusanagi, now in a child's cyborg body, looks out over the city. Her voice is different, layered. She is a new entity. Voiceover. The proof that this works is not theoretical. It is the entire climax of Kusanagi's evolution. Before the merge, she is powerful, yes, but she is also isolated, melancholic, and trapped. She is constantly questioning the nature of her own existence. After the merge, she is something more. When her partner, Batu, finds her in a new body, he asks, "So, where does the newborn ghost go from here?" Her response is the proof. The net is vast and infinite. Voiceover. She is no longer the Major. That identity is gone. She has dissolved her cage and become part of the network itself. She has transcended her limitations. She is free. Her reward for letting go of herself was not annihilation, but expansion. She became boundless. This is not just science fiction. It is a technological retelling of one of humanity's oldest philosophical insights. The Buddhist doctrine of anatta, or no self, teaches that the individual ego is an illusion. A temporary aggregation of physical and mental components. It is this illusion, this desperate clinging to a separate self, that is the root of all suffering. The path to liberation, to nirvana, is to see through the illusion. To experience the interconnected, impermanent nature of all things. Kusanagi's dive into the net is a cyberpunk bodhisattva's vow. The logic is irrefutable. A rigid structure is brittle. It shatters under pressure. A fluid one is resilient. It adapts, it flows, it surrounds obstacles. When you build your life around a rigid identity, any challenge to that identity, losing your job, a relationship ending, a failure, becomes an existential crisis. Your very self is threatened. But if you cultivate a fluid sense of self, one that is impermanent and interconnected, nothing can truly break you. You are no longer a static object that can be shattered. You are a process. You are the river. You are the net. Phase 6. The call to action. Visual. The final shot is the same as the beginning. A slow, macro shot of rain on a window, the city lights blurred behind it. The feeling is serene, resolved, but still melancholic. Voiceover. The cages we build are made of thought. And they can be unmade by thought. You don't need to merge with an AI to begin this process. You only need to be brave enough to ask the questions. I want you to continue this inquiry with me. In the comments below, answer this. What is the one label you cling to most tightly, and what do you imagine it would feel like to let it go, even for just one day? Your answers are part of the network. They teach all of us. If you believe the future of humanity lies in understanding the ghost, not just the shell, then join our collective. Subscribe to Digital Ghost and become part of the signal in the noise. Major Kusanagi's journey to dissolve her identity began with the profound discomfort she felt in her own body. To understand the foundation of her struggle, you must first grasp the philosophy of the shell she inhabited. Your session time should continue with our deep dive into the philosophy of embodiment. Watch our analysis titled, The Body is a Prison, Cybernetics and the Price of Perfection. The link is on your screen now. Stay curious. Stay fluid.